Cool intro music here. Yay. Okay. Some jazzy graphics. All right, let's look. Okay, so what we have is a Kobalt electric kid car. Basically, it's a Jeep for all intents and purposes. Looks like a Jeep. Quacks like a Jeep, you know the saying. Anyway, it says 3+ up ages. It does have remote control, so you could drive it, and the kid would think they're driving it. It's 40 volt. Comes with the battery and charger, and we're going to look at a whole bunch of stuff that comes with it. The part number here is 2557198, and what I want to do real quick too is actually measure the physical size of the outside box, and that way you'll know if it's going to fit in whatever you're carrying it in. So you got to get this thing home, unless you have it shipped to where you live. So across the box, it is about 47 3/4. So say almost 4 feet across this way. So you need at least 4 feet. This is 1 foot 6 inch or 18 inches. So 18 inches tall. And then for the depth, it's 28.5 inches, 28.5. So 2 foot 4.5 inches. And I guess diagonally, if you were trying to wedge it in there, go 55 inches diagonal across the top. So pretty decent sized box to get in somewhere. And like I was mentioning before, let's turn it. And you can see we've got a couple of things here that it's going to come with. There's the remote control, the USB interior port and radio, so you can put music in there, your kid's favorite music. It's got lights, working rear bar lights, so the lights on top of the roll cage work, and I believe the ones under here on the front of the headlights, but we'll test all that and take a look at it. And then here's the battery. So it takes a 40 volt Kobalt battery, comes with a charger. Kids can drive it by the foot pedal. They got that. Tail lights actually work, so it's got front and back lights, which is kind of cool. The doors open and close. It says it can hold up to 65 pounds capacity, and the remote control will work good up to 30 feet away. Depending on what the rain does or when we get it set up, we can test and see how far the remote control actually works. I can measure pretty far. So headlights went over to 2.AH battery, charges in 1 hour, and it says here it gets about a 50-minute run time, 50. I think that probably varies, I would bet you. Okay, so I looked all over the box. I couldn't find anywhere where it's telling me how much it weighs. I think I kind of picked it up. I'm guessing it's more than 50, probably not more than 80, so let's just say 65, 70 pounds. All right, so let's go ahead and open the box. Let's see what's in it. And I want to go ahead and pull the battery out and get it charging as well. You're going to need to have 2 AAA batteries, a Phillips screwdriver, say smaller size Phillips, and there's 2 plastic tools that come with the Kobalt vehicle, and then something could be a knife, or I just have some cutters here. You're going to cut 4 plastic little zip ties that are on the front and back axle when they come out of the box. Let's open it up and see. I got a razor knife. I would be very careful, don't cut too deep. I'm lifting up on the lid because I don't want to go too deep. I can tell I'm not cutting much. Let's take a look here. It looks like we got a pretty good shot. You can kind of see in here. All right, so I'm just now opening it from new. Looks like we'll need to install the windshield. Looks like non-working windshield wipers. That's okay. Does have tinted glass. It's nice for the sun. The kid won't have to wear sunglasses. Let's set that there. Looks like the roll cage. Yeah, and if I'm guessing here, figure low voltage. There's one little LED in the middle of the light on the roll cage. So one LED per light. Pretty cool. We'll set this over here. Okay, that's that. The regular styrofoam packing in here. Looks like it's packed pretty good. Not bad at all. Let's move this out of here. Actually, I'm going to set that down there. I'm just going to take this out. It's got front padding in the, so all across the front had this padding. Now we got some stuff. All right, so this looks like part of the, these are going to be the two doors, at least, if not other stuff. I'd say just the door. Yeah. So right and left door. All right, looks like part of, there's two, you can see where you're going to screw something in, part of a hinge assembly for the door to work. They both have that. So let's set this over here. Okay, so here's the seat. Just so you know too, I didn't mention this earlier, it looks like one kid at a time is supposed to ride in it. You can kind of see the seat here. It's got a 4-way harness to hold them in there. So I guess if there's a rollover, if they keep their hands inside the vehicle, probably they probably can take it. So anyway, here's the seat. It's not made of material, it's plastic. So if they spilt something on it, no big deal. It's just plastic, which is what you want in this scenario. These are the side roll bars that's going to go by the rear tires. There's a plug. Oh, I see what it is. Okay, so there's a wire in here you're going to need to plug in. This will be for the roll cage lights. So it'll probably go like that. Roll cage lights goes here. Actually, it'll probably go like this. Yep. And then we'll plug in. So you got two small plugs, low voltage. That's going to run across and power up your roll cage lights. We have a manual across here. I see at least 2 languages for sure. 3 manuals here. One's going to be for the electric car itself, the kid car as Kobalt calls it. Here's one for the charger. And then here's one for the 40 volt lithium ion battery. It's got assembly which we'll go through. Yep, all right. So here's the English version and the Spanish. Here's the remote control. We'll see if it it needs some kind of battery. How about AAA? So it's going to need AAA batteries, but it may have some with it. We'll find out when we unpack it. Here's the battery. It's got 1 bar. So it's got 1 bar. So if you're putting this together for a surprise or something, definitely give it some charge time. But according to the box and what it says it can charge in an hour. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on the charger. One thing I want to just kind of note, so here's the charger. It only goes in one way. It's got the little tabs here to put it in. I'll try to maybe get a better zoom up on this. And if you kind of set it in here, the light will kind of come on like that maybe. It's showing the charge, but push it in, you'll hear a click. Push it all the way in until it clicks. And make sure this thing should probably start flashing while it's charging. These look like the drive engines. There's a right, has an R on it. So we got a right wheel and the left. Bolts and nuts with little tiny screws. So that looks like part of putting the door together. Here's a spring. That's probably part of the suspension. A little lug nut tool. And I'll get a better camera angle. We'll open all this up and see what we got here. And then here's the steering wheel. This is underneath it. There was this little styrofoam piece, looks like to protect the underbelly. Take that out. All right, so this is the bottom of it. And there's another styrofoam piece wedged up here in the front. You can't really see. So here's the wheels. 2, 3, 4, which is good. We got protection on them. Ah, there is another piece in here. There's more. Oh, there's more. All right. No, that was what fell earlier. That was the remote. You saw that. So there is another item in here in the box. Make sure you don't throw it away. It looks like the front and even rear axles. I see a little bit of a suspension on it. All right, yep, it's both axles actually. I see some zip ties. So you're gonna have to have something that'll cut these zip ties. You can see this is the rear axle here. It's zip tied to the front. All right, so I got everything out of the box and I spread it all out on the table. And we'll take a closer look at it, but there's a good bit here, but it's really not too crazy. So I think this thing's not going to be that bad. Got the 4 tires. I can't tell that they have to go front or back, so I think they're all 4 the same. I'm going to take a measurement of them just so we know tire size. We got the roll bar lights. I still haven't cut these zip ties. These are your 2 axles. And then you'll notice we got a couple other things here that we've taken apart. There's the seat. I'm talking kind of loud. Hopefully this comes out all right because it's raining pretty hard outside. Windshield, we looked at some of this, the little part of the roll bar. These are, looks like caps that are gonna go on the wheels. Here's your motors. These probably go on the rear wheels to drive it. Our manuals, these don't really care about just yet. We're gonna use this guy. There's 2 tools. They look to be the same if I'm just eyeballing them. They probably fit the nuts for the wheels. So you got these set of screws here, came with it. If you wanted to pause and count them, you can. And then these smaller screws. There's only 4 of those. These little bushings are probably gonna go on the front tires where it pivots. These look like a little part of the front axle. It's gonna mount up on that somehow. Here's part of the suspension for the springs. It came with 6 washers. We'll figure out what those are, the mirrors. And I think that's it. Here's the Jeep itself, or the Kobalt electric car. Let's kind of zoom in on the dash so you can see. Here's the shifter. Pretty cool. Looks like the radio. And USB, look, auxiliary in. I just noticed that. So you can hook something to it and play it out of that. Just a gas pedal, and there is a Phillips screw right there. So Phillips screw there. You're going to take those off because from what I saw in the picture, there's the battery's going to go under here. So this is where you're going to change the battery out. If you look here, it'll tell you the part number. And in the instructions, it's going to say AA, BB, in different ones that it goes through. I will say in the amount of screws that I received, it's got the quantity of 10 and 2. And then the same thing over here. It's pretty good telling you what to do. It's telling you of each. Like I was saying on the screws, I do have extra. It came with extra. So don't worry too much if you count up kind of what you have. They seem to have thrown a few extra in here, I think. We'll find out when we go to build it. Maybe that's not the case. All right. This took a little figuring out. So out of the box, there's this steering wheel rod right here is down low. So what you want to do is flip the Jeep over, and we're going to turn the steering wheel right here, okay, with our hand. And I'm going to flip this up so once it's spun up, the complete opposite of the direction that the Jeep came. So if you'll see here, I'm turning this, maybe. There we go. You got to make sure this rod is flipped all the way up, and you just need to turn it by turning the steering wheel. It tells you that in the directions. And then when I set this on here, there's a little cutout area for these brackets to fit. And then you need to make sure this eye part right here goes on the steering shaft so they're able to steer. And that's it. So it fits in there pretty nice in the little shaft that you have here. And just to kind of see, yeah, see. Let me get a screwdriver. So you're going to need a Phillips VV Victor screws. It's a screw and it's got a flatter head than these others that are not near as flat. I know you can't see that, but this has a real flat part on it. And there's going to be 4 here, 4 here. So a total of 8 are going to be used to screw this down. I'm just going to start a few And then that way, these are going in pretty easy, so this probably wouldn't be real hard with a regular screwdriver. And like I said, there's 8 of these. All right. So we got the front axle in. You can kind of see there. Make sure the rod's up. And we just had to turn the steering wheel to make this steering rod go up. So now it's there. Next thing it says it wants you to do is you're going to put one of the washers on here and one here. So there's 6 of these washers. They're all the same, so you don't have to worry about getting the wrong ones. AA, alpha, alpha, AA washers. And then it wants the shaft bearing. That's what it's calling it. It's little plastic black. Another washer and a lock nut, the 17 millimeter. So one thing I did want to check on these real quick is how tall the tire is. It's about a 13.5 tall, and it is about 6 inches wide. But all the wheels are the same, so that's cool. It's kind of hard to mess that up then. And I'm just going to slide this on. I'm just kind of looking at it here. All right, something I didn't notice too on the little plastic tab part here is a little raised section. It's just going to let the tire kind of fit on snug there, which is what you want, which is good. Now we're going to get another washer and then the 17 millimeter lock nut. Now you can't really see it here, but there's a plastic piece on the nut. That's what self-locks it. Put that on the outside. So the nut's going to go like that. Washer first, then the nut, just like this. And then I think what we can do is put it in our little tool. And remember, the plastic part of the nut's going to go on the outside. We're going to put it in the little tool and then set it in here and turn it righty-tighty. Now, I didn't turn it too many times. So, and then here's the little center cap on the wheel. It's got 4 tabs. So just set it on here and kind of pop it in there and it fits. All right, so get it tight. I'll double check this other one. Now, here's the little drive hubs that you got right there. And the 3 screws are going to go on this. Here's our instructions. So it was the screws are YY, yellow, yellow. Now these screws came in the package with these 2 drive hubs. So the screws that are tied to that, leave them right by when you take them apart or leave them in the package. I would just kind of start them, all 3, and then come in and go back and tighten them up. There's 3 holes. Make sure your holes line up that you're going to put the screws in, because you can put it in there and they won't line up. There is a R and an L on the body. All right, now this is for the rear axle part. So there are these tabs that are already screwed in here. These little pieces are going to go in. Looks like they don't go a certain way other than the axle's got to go through this part. You're going to want to take the 2 springs that we have here, drop it down in this square hole. They're going to sit up like that. And then this is going to go where the axle's got to run through it. So you got a hole, as you can see here, and we're going to run it this way. So you got these don't matter. These are identical pieces, so it doesn't matter which one goes with. As I pushed this down, it made sure it went under these metal tabs, or these metal braces or supports. It's got to go under it so it holds tension against it. So I'm going to push down with my hand like that, go across to the next one. I'm going to push down on the next one, and then now the axle's in there. So as you can see, this is the axle for the rear wheels put in. So on the drive motor itself, there's little notches in here. That's that part we bolted onto the tire before, the rear tires. This has an L. There's an L right here on the body. And this part, the wheel's got to go on it, so you know it's going to have to go to the outside. There's a hole right here that the motor is going to push into. And then I'm going to run the wires through that hole that you're seeing over here. I'm running the wires through the hole, and the motor is going to go through that as well. There we go. So you're not screwing the motor down to the body at all. The wheel, when it goes on, is going to hold all this together via the nut that's out here. All right, so we did the left side. Let's put the right motor in. You're going to actually be able to see it better. Again, this needs to be to the outside. That's where the wheel's going to go. put it over the shaft first and spin it, and then run these wires through here as you do that. Again, pretty easy. This is not bad at all. All right, this is how it goes. Now we're going to put the wheels on. So I'm going to put the wheel on here. Remember, we screwed this part on. No washers or anything goes there. And then I kind of turn it. It's got to fit inside. See how it's kind of spinning, but there's grooves right here. So this high part of this one's going to fit into the high part of that, and you just push it in. We can get a good look at it. Let's put our washer and nut in. We've got the tire on there. I'm going to set it in here. You don't want to tighten this all the way down yet. Just put it in, and then we'll come around and do the other side as well. Then we'll tighten them once we get them both in there. Because remember I was telling you this shaft slides back and forth. So same thing here. I'm going to put it in. And I want to make sure it goes through the little grooves or the thing won't work. I'm going to go ahead and tighten it. The shaft's turning, so this is probably why we got two of these. This whole thing's a solid shaft across the back of this. So when you tighten one, it turns the shaft and you got to be able to hold the other side. So you're going to put one on this tire, one on this tire for the whole back, and turn them at the same time. So each way you're going to turn it, and I'm turning them both. Or you could just hold one and turn the other. So we've assembled everything. These straps did not have to come off. We push this down to slide in the rear axle. This is labeled right. We have right on the body, or R, and L. And then L here is on the other side of that. Nothing we had to do here. And then on the front axles, or front axle, we got the tire on. There's a washer goes right here on the inside of the tire on the front. All the tires are the same. Can't really mess up. We put these 4 screws in, and it tells you exactly what screws they are. And then this was already all assembled. We had to turn the steering wheel 180 degrees for this shaft to be pointing up. And then we placed all this in here. There's a groove this fits down in, this box tube support. So it fits down in here. And that's really it for the underneath that I'm aware of. All right, let's flip the Jeep over. And now we are sitting on tires now. So cool, huh? We did forget the center caps on the wheels. So just notice that. Once you get it tight, put that in. This thing's pretty straightforward on these. Looks like this plug can only go one way. So this is the harness that's in here already in the body. These are the 2 motors that we installed, the drive motors. So I'm just going to take this one that goes all the way to the end and put it on my left one. Notice there's a little click tab here. And this, it only goes one way. Don't force anything. It should just snap in nice. And it does. The little blades. There's 2 male blades in here. And then the female connectors on this side. Push the tab like that. You don't really even have to push it, just put it in. So you want to make sure that's tight. Shouldn't be able to pull it apart. To put the door on, there's these 2 screws we're going to take loose. I did both of them. So that screw, we're going to take them both loose and then slide this metal tab up in here and put the screw back in it. So these are no additional screws needed. One thing too to note on the door, there's a hole right here. Put the bottom of this, make sure it goes down in that hole so it's for the door. We're going to slide it up under here, right in there, because you got to put that screw in it. So I'm going to kind of lift the dash up. You can see when you lift the dash up, there's there's a spot here where it goes. It's a little cutout. So again, I put the part of the bottom of the door down in first. I'm going to put this in there, kind of lift it, slide it in. And it seems like if you'll shut the door, make sure it's flush in here, and then put your screw in. Then you know pretty sure it's gonna, the bracket's gonna have the screw go through it. Looks like it's pretty bulletproof. Let's check it. Pretty nice. I like they put a plastic thing in here. If a little kid had their hand right here, it kind of pushes the fingers out of the way. So kudos to the Kobalt folks on this one. Okay, so we're going to put this part of the roll bar together. Just so you know as well, this has a right and left. If you can see it. So it matters, and the reason it matters is the right one has the wires. It's going to run the lights on the roll cage, top part of the lights of the roll cage. You're just going to push it down, and it's going to just lock in place. So again, left-hand side over here, we'll just set it down in the hole, and it just clicked, made a nice click noise. All right, so we're good there. Then on this one, the only thing you want to watch is, see this wire on the bottom right here? We're going to make sure it feeds down in the hole, and then we'll hook it up underneath here with the hookup in a minute. It says to push it in there. So just there's an opening down here in the bottom, just make sure it goes in there. This will push down, and these need to be pointing forward, and then it's going to go in here. Now there's 2 screws here that are going to go in and hold the roll cage, but before we worry about that, let's plug this tiny little connector in, and it'll only go one way. And then here, remember the light's facing forward. Same thing over here on the left side. And let's go here. All right, you'll see it kind of go down into it and grab into that metal part of the roll cage. This thing had a little metal piece in it. So let me go to the other side and do it real quick. And I'm going to push it in. All right, so that's pretty good on that. So here's the connector that came from the roll bar. And I couldn't find the other connector real easy, but it was just sitting up in there. So this is the right rear corner behind the right rear tire. I'm going to go in here, and we got to plug this in so the lights work. That wire was right here, and then you just came right up in here and just snapped it in. All right, so it says on the seat we have 2 screws. I can see them right here. They're going to go here on this corner and on that corner. And then, just so you know too, the seat's got these little tabs, these little brackets on the back side of it, and it's going to go in these holes right here. Okay, just wanted to get one started. And here. There, okay. Don't hammer this down. This plug looks like it will only go one way, and it does. There's a little notch on the top part here, or a little thing sticking up, and this has a clicker that's going to go in. It's 4 and 4 on the wires. All right, now what it did say, 1, don't hammer down on it, and 2, kind of feed this wire up into the steering wheel as you go down towards the vehicle. Now, so one thing too is there's 2 notches here on the steering wheel, and there's a cutout here that has to slide in, and so it's not quite on yet. I'm going to push, but I'm not going to hammer. So all I did is push. That's got a horn, sweet. I just pushed down. Don't bang bang. It was saying not to do that. So let's go ahead and we can put the windshield in. Same kind of thing. It's got little push tabs. It sits this way. There's some notches or holes down here. So we're just going to kind of push that in. Not too hard. Windshield's in. Same thing with the mirrors. The shiny part's going to go to the back. Probably know that, but I don't know. And it just pushes down in the hole. Let's put the other one on. We'll do it here. Again, I just kind of pushed down. They just pushed right in. So there's a little screw here holding the hood down. It looks like it wants you to put that back in. All right, so here's where the battery goes. It's got a little latch that clips and holds it. Here's our battery. Now let's check it now. All 4 bars are lighting up. We will put the battery pack in. It latches down. So just to show you, the name Kobalt will read this way for standing on the left side of the Jeep. And again, I don't think you can put it in the wrong way. Yeah, see, it won't even go down in there. So it's really only, it's going to be hard to mess up. The power button. Okay. Nice. All right, so It started the engine. It's very quiet while it runs. Oh, wow. All right, I pushed it once and the horn kept going. So just so you know, it's not an instant off and on. I'm going to touch the horn once. All right, you get like a double honk. Just so you know, so don't scream at your kid if you think he or she's still honking at you. Yeah, all right, I got the snap in there and it doesn't come back loose. So for some reason on the one I have, that came loose and it made the fog lights not work. So all these connectors under this seat are supposed to be all plugged in. All right, here it is. Everything's put together on it. We will go and set up the remote control next. I'm going to drive it around here just see how it works. So I did fix the fog lights, so let me hit that. So I'm hitting the power button here. They rev it up pretty good. Notice we got fog lights working now. We didn't have that. You can see the headlights and then these little fog lights, or the fog lights down in the lower part here, headlights, pretty bright, so that's kind of cool. And then if I spin it around here, you'll see we have tail lights. They got to go in dark mode. Come in dark, they can turn it off right here. And then that does the lights. Okay, I didn't catch that. It was on when we put the battery in. So good, so you can cut the lights off and on here. It has a battery indicator. We can see right there what our charge is. So they may want to head in. If they're down to a bar or two, they're way away. I read something where somebody said they had somebody go around almost 3 miles on it, I think, on a charge. It feels kind of light, so I'm thinking the battery's not in it, would be my guess. So it's got a little screw on it here. Take that out. Yep. Okay, so that's something to note. You're going to need to buy 2 AAA batteries. Okay, so we put the batteries in the remote, 2 AAA, and then now we've got to pair the remote with the Jeep so it'll work. So what it said is take the forward and reverse buttons here, these 2 right here, and you're going to hold it down at the same time until this starts flashing. So I haven't tested this yet. So I'm going to do this, hold it down, 3 seconds roughly. There, so it's flashing, it's in pairing mode. And then we just got to put the power on in the Jeep. Okay, and I think when the light's solid, now it says you only need to do this 1 time. So this isn't something you got to do every time you run it. Yep, okay, so I'm hitting it. And then this little indicator, this S is speed. So that's high, that's low speed. So 1 bar, if you can see that, yep, 1 bar, just slow. And it says if you just stop using it for a minute, after there, it just kind of quits. There's no off button or anything like that on it. So I think if you just discontinue usage, it'll turn itself off. You can turn the wheels without it moving and just kind of ease it towards you. It's pretty easy to drive. Even a monkey can do it, as you kind of can see there. Penelope the monkey. Go here. I can't take it out and test the range. I wanted to test how far. It's raining pretty bad out there. I don't want to get it. So it's pretty cool. You can go real slow with it too, you know. So it's pretty easy to work. Anyway, I need one of these for me. All right, so hopefully this helped. I know I showed all the different steps that it's going to take to go through here. We had a little wire we had to connect for the roll bar lights, but other than that, this thing's really pretty easy to put together. The instructions are pretty good. Little pictures, and it tells you each step. So hopefully this helps out. If you're still watching at this point in the video, you're a diehard. Be sure to subscribe to me wherever the little clicky subscribe thing is. Probably down, somewhere down there, I suspect. But anyway, thanks again. Hope this helps.